Hi. Another question new FFA students have is, what is the difference between the auction and the barn sale? The barn sale is easy. If you don't make auction, you go into the barn sale. And barn sale is kind of like Target or Walmart for buying an animal. Each animal has a list price, whether it's a steer or a pig or a lamb or a goat, and that is the price that you pay for the animal. We get into what it means to buy an animal and things like that in another video, but the barn sale is just like Walmart for animals. One price buys any animal um, based on what kind of animal it is. The auction is a bit different. So with the auction, the way you get into the auction is you have to start with, you have to finish in the top 10 of your class. So each group of animals, each species of animals is broken into weight classes to kind of group similar animals together. The top 10 of each one of those classes, after all of the classes are over and all of showmanship review is over, all of the animals from the top 10 and the showmanship people go into a pen, and they're put in by class and by order. So you'll have class 1 in the top 10 of each one of those, and class 2 in the top 10 of each one of those, and they'll all be put into order. And then the judge is going to get up and stand up in front of that group and start to pick different animals to come into the auction. So just because you made top 10 in your class does not mean that you will make it into the auction. And to be honest, even if you made number 1 in your class doesn't mean that you'll make it into the auction. There's probably a really good chance that you will, but it's not a guarantee. When you're showing your animal, you are still showing. So when you're in that pen with it kind of getting selected to go into auction, you are still showing. You present your animal, you present yourself, you're watching the judge. If someone in front of you is not doing that, you might remind them to do that, because the judge will pass over that person and won't select them until they are showing their animal properly. So when you're in that ring, you are showing at all times. Once you've been selected to be in the auction, you'll be put into order in line with all of your animals of the same category, and then you'll proceed to walk across the stage and people will bid on your animal. Remember, you're going to need to get a buyer for your animal, regardless of whether you make it into auction or you're in the barn sale. You will need to get a buyer. It's the responsibility of the FFA student to get a buyer for their animal. You have no guarantee that you'll make it into the auction, so you need to make sure that you have someone to buy your animal in the barn sale, and you should invite all of the people you send letters to the auction so that they will be there in the event that you do make auction. So to wrap up, the auction is done by selection. You have to be at least in the top 10 to be considered. And then if you don't make auction, you will be in our barn sale, and the barn sale is just one price for each category of animal.